just clear the space with a little bit of cinnamon. It smells so positively divine while it's burning. So, today is the air signs, and I am still using my Oliver Hebert combined deck. We will be starting with the air sign of Gemini. Gemini, sun, moon, rising. Maybe your Venus is in Gemini. My North Node is in Gemini. And Gemini, if you would like, go ahead, set your intention for the reading. And allow any other associated thoughts and ideas to rise up to the forefront of your mind. And just wait there patiently while I deal out the cards. Now, it's just water. Stay hydrated, folks. If any of these thoughts or ideas are causing you discomfort, maladjustment, anxiety, I invite you to gently breathe through that energy. So as you inhale, allow the divine essence of Source to be drawn into your body on those oxygen molecules, and allow that Source energy to pass through your electron transport chain. And when it reaches the very end, allow any of those negative emotions or ideas to be carried out of your body. With the carbon dioxide, it will be returned to Source and it will be transmuted. Let me write down your timestamp here. And we can get started. So, here in the past for you, Gemini, we have the King of Pentacles reversed. There could have been a time in your past where you were able to balance what is above and what is below. This is a card of stability. It can be associated with your neighboring sign of Taurus. So perhaps some of you are cuspers, or have Taurus otherwhere prominently in your chart. Excuse me, sorry. The King of Pentacles would be an energy of financial or material stability. It's showing up in the reverse in the past can show that perhaps you were more stable in the past than you are now. But it can also indicate that moving into the current situation, you have some very fixed ideas about material resources that perhaps need to be adjusted slightly. And of course, it's a general reading, so it's going to be different for all of you. So, here in the current situation, we have the Six of Pentacles as your significator. This card is indicative that you have more coming in at this time than you have going out, and you are able to be very generous with those around you. This is crossed by the High Priestess. The High Priestess is a cyclical energy because she is tied to the luminary body of the moon. There's a balance here between light and darkness, straddling two worlds. There's also this idea of hidden knowledge here, this scroll in her lap, because she is able to straddle the two worlds. Now, she's a very solitary figure. So it could be at this time you have been separated from others by your knowledge or by a situation that is kind of splitting your energy. But there is more money coming in at this time than is going out. You might not be quite as stable as you have been in the past. Gemini, here in the Imam Silai, we have the Fool, and this card has to do with new beginnings. It is the beginning of the major arcana. We have the loyal dog companion here, trying to guide this kind of misguided figure from walking off of this cliff. There's some naivete to the Fool, but there's also an openness to new experience, going into things with your eyes wide open and without preconceived notions. Hear from your perspective. We have the candle, and it's showing up reversed, such that you might feel like at this time you have to hide your light from others. The candle card is something that you are supposed to meditate on to obtain the meaning. And I have a bit, and I will continue to do so. Sorry, clearing my throat just a little bit. This flame of the candle, I often talk about in the fire sign video, because I use a candle for clearing at the beginning of the video. I talk about the flame being associated with source and how it is a small piece of source energy that you can connect to, that you can meditate upon, and reflect that energy. So where we have this showing up in your perspective in the reverse, you might not be feeling that connection to the divine right now. You might not be feeling so much the spark of the divine within oneself. It's always there, but sometimes it's easier to connect than other times. From the outside looking in, we have the devil reversed. Now, the devil card showing up in the reverse can have to do with temptations and your baser instincts kind of getting the better of you in the current situation. So, where we have you feeling a little less connected to the divine at this time, Others from the outside might be perceiving about you that you are not fighting off temptations with your usual vigor. And because we have the Fool card coming out here in the Imam Selah, remember this is going to be setting the foundations for what ends up happening in the future. You are possibly at this time encountering a lot of very new situations, Gemini, that you haven't encountered before. And you're having to work through that situation without the benefit of prior knowledge. And so, where you have temptations showing up, you might be more susceptible to them because perhaps they're being presented like it could be the right thing to do. Here in the future, we have the lizards, and the lizards are showing up reversed in the future. So this is one of the secret arcana cards. And this has to do with giving a little. The lizards are take a little, give a little. So there could be, this is, a very similar energy to what we have here with the Six of Pentacles in the current situation in some ways. So with the Six of Pentacles, we're dealing with giving to charity, an overall balance with the ebb and flow of material wealth in and out of a person's existence. And so where we have the lizards in the reverse, you could be asked to receive. This can be in a variety of different contexts, right? So if you have been loaning out money to other people, maybe in the future they'll be paying you back. If you have been extending yourself to other people, perhaps in the future you are going to be requiring help. But there's not as much an implication of a requirement here, just that there is going to be balancing. Here in the hopes and fears, we have the bat showing up in the reverse. This is another one of the secret arcana, and I do really like having those blended into the deck overall. We have, in the reverse, it says think before actions are taken. So you might hope that even though these are things that you've never encountered before, that you'll be able to discern and trust your discernment and think, excuse me, and think all the way through things before you are able to act on them. That you might have the time to do that as well, because sometimes it feels like we have to make decisions very quickly. Here in the this is the midheaven. So the eventual outcome of what we see here in the Imam Selah, where we have the Fool card in the upright. We have the Eight of Wands, and it's showing up in the reverse. There's not really a closure to be had from this situation, and there's not really a good resolution per se. Uh, Additionally, this card, if what I've just said is not necessarily the case, it could be that this is the beginning of the story arc and that there is quite a lot to play out before we get all the way to the end. And that really makes sense here if you're looking at this dynamic of give and take that's going on. Additionally, the Fool card, the beginning of the journey. It's going to be a longer journey. It might be a little bit more complicated. The final outcome, though, is really kind of a blessing. We do have the Nine of Swords here. It's in the reverse. So, where the Nine of Swords in the upright is about anxieties, it's about fear, it's about lack of sleep, oversleep. Where we have it showing up in the reverse, it's actually quite good, especially because this is showing up in the oppositional position to the Devil card in the reverse. That perhaps you shouldn't worry so much about not knowing which temptations are the right ones to avoid, which struggles should you give in to, and which struggles should you release. So that is going to be the Gemini reading for this week. I do crystals crying on the members side of the channel, and that will be occurring after this video broadcast is concluded. You are cordially invited, but your presence here on the channel is greatly appreciated in whatever form it takes. So now we're going to move on to the sign of Libra. And Libra. If you would like, go ahead and set your intention for the reading. And just allow any of the thoughts or ideas associated with that intention, allow those things to rise up to the forefront of your thoughts. Just wait there patiently while I shuffle the cards. If any of these things are causing you consternation or stress or giving you pause, I invite you to gently breathe through that energy. As you inhale, draw in the divine light of Source. Along with the oxygen molecules, allow them to travel all the way through your electron transport chain. And then as you are releasing that carbon dioxide from your body, just allow it to carry out any negative feelings, any pain, any discomfort you're experiencing, and it will be returned to Source. It will be transmuted. All right, so Libra. Excuse me. It must be dinner time. All right, so Libra. Let's start here in the past with the light. This can be about, the shadow card is also coming out here. I always get these a little confused, so I like to look it up and make sure that I am getting it correct. Upright is hidden truths. So you're coming into the current situation dealing with the truth is there, but you're not able to see or discern it yet, perhaps. It's entirely possible that you have all of this information available to you, you're just not seeing it. That is the prevailing energy that's going to be bringing us into the current situation. So the place of the significator, we have the Two of Pentacles. And this card, upright, can be about business partnerships. It can also be about striking a balance. This would be something like balancing a checkbook. It could be something like balancing your work life ratio. It's a situation where balance is achieved and then maintained over however long, and there need to be little adjustments along the way to maintain that seesaw at equilibrium or homeostasis. And this is crossed by the flower. This is a card about purity and innocence. So because this is the crossing energy, there could be a balance that you're striking right now, Libra, between the profane and the sacred. How much skin is too much skin to show? How tied into certain ideologies do you want to be? Do you want to be totally pure? Do you want to blend all of these things kind of together in a way that opens you up to the possibility of both, or is that going to kind of close off certain things to you? There's always a give and take with that. Here in the MMCLI, then we have the shadow card coming out in the reverse. So now we have this added dynamic with the shadow, which is 15. And that is hidden lies. So it looks like around you at this time, Libra, a lot of the information is being hidden. It's being closed off. And you look at these two cards and how beautifully it's been illustrated with this background here and this background here. That we're really looking at balancing all of these hidden issues as well. You can't always see all sides of a situation. It's going to be very difficult to do that. And of course, that's why I got into divination in the first place. Because you want to be able to see all the different factors. So now that we know that this balance is taking place for you, Libra, let's look into some of the other factors at play here. From your perspective, we have the Three of Wands. Now, the Three of Wands is a card having to do with things returning to you from the energies that you have expended. So, energies that you have put forth into the world are now starting to come back around again. This can be projects, especially in the creative realm, because these are wands having to do with creativity and passion. Um, but it can have to do with other things too. We had that Six of Pentacles come out in the Gemini reading, and they're not exactly the same energy, but they do have similarities. So, from the outside looking in, we have the Eight of Cups. It's showing up in the reverse. And this card is very much about walking away. So, where we see it in the reverse, people might perceive about you at this time that you are not walking away from a situation. This could be you not backing down from a situation as well. Um, and when we look at the final outcome card, we can see kind of the mirror effect of that and what else might be at play. There's only one other cup in this reading, so when we get there, maybe I can use that to figure out a little bit more about that Eight of Cups as well. Here in the future, we have the Five of Pentacles in the reverse. Now, this reflects two things for the future. And of course, we're dealing with it in the context of hidden truths. The Five of Pentacles in the future is not very descriptive when it shows up reversed like this, because this shows that there is the potential for there to be lack and for there to be times where the material resources are not there for you. But it also shows the possibility that this is never going to be a problem for you again. So I might pull some clarifiers on that when I get to the end. So in the hopes and fears, this is where we see our other cup. And what we have there is the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups is somebody who's water energy, somebody who their emotions run very deep, and they often strive to hide them from others. Very nurturing, very maternal energy, a very passive, nurturing energy, emotionally nurturing rather than a provider. So, this might be the reason that you're not walking away from this situation. You could want to be a mother, or you could have a desire, a hope that you will have the ability to be emotionally nurturing in a particular situation. Here in the midheaven, this is going to be the foil to what we see here with the shadow. The shadow is these hidden lies. The midheaven, we have the Eight of Pentacles in the reverse. So these hidden lies are keeping you from really tapping into your full earning potential. These lies could, obviously, we don't know what we don't know, right? So all you can do is kind of take it one frame at a time. And the other eight that we have here is that Eight of Cups. that you haven't walked away from a particular situation. And then in the place of the significator, remember we have the Two of Pentacles. So we're talking about trying to strike this balance here and possibly a business partnership with somebody else. And striking that balance between the sacred and the profane, possibly, right? So all of those are interesting factors at play. The final outcome is the Ace of Swords. And the Ace of Swords is here upright. Now, this is a card about making positive changes in your own life, taking power back in a situation, and thereby beginning a new cycle for yourself. The Ace of Swords is differentiated from the Tower and from the Death card by your agency. And it could be that what you need to do to take agency in a situation is decide whether or not you're going to walk away. You can walk away and maintain your agency, or you can remain and be subject to everything else that is going on around you. So that is going to conclude the Libra reading for this week. I'm going to move on to the Aquarius. So Aquarius, if you would, go ahead and set your intention for the reading. Air sign, but fixed energy. I'm going to shuffle the cards. And that was loud. Sorry about that. I hope it doesn't come through too loud in the recording. Go ahead, set your intention. Allow any of the thoughts and ideas associated with this situation to rise up to the forefront of your mind. And just let them wait there. And if any of these things are causing you discomfort or stress or anxiety, I invite you to gently breathe through that energy. As you inhale, draw in divine source energy. Use that electron transport chain to help that source energy bounce through your mitochondria at a cellular level. And then when you reach the end, just release on your breath any negative emotion, feeling, thoughts, or ideas. They will be returned to source and they will be transmuted. So, what we have here in the past for you, Aquarius, is the Three of Swords, and it's reversed. There could have been some heartbreak in the past for you. It could have been a breakup. It could have been losing someone who was close to you, whether that's them passing on or even just losing touch with somebody, having somebody leave your life. This is in the past and it is reversed. And so there might still be a wound there, but it is not fresh. Here in the place of the significator, I made a face because it's the tomb card, which is a little intimidating. It's not necessarily a bad card. So the tomb is that number 20? Free your demons. Sacrifice is power. Clear your conscience before it's too late. So what it's saying is to open up the tomb and allow all of these spirits to be freed. Kind of like the exercise we do at the beginning of just releasing that all back out into the universe to be transmuted. We have the cat here. This card is number 6. The more you see, the less you know. So the more that you're able to perceive about all of these different things that you're releasing, the less that you're actually going to understand it. When you keep all of these things kind of locked in to a situation, just like a puzzle, when it's all together, it makes sense. But then as it fragments and splits apart, of course, those pieces are going to fly off in different directions. And when we're talking about something that is not a static item like a puzzle, we're talking about one's own existence. When things fragment like that, they splinter off into all directions. Things become very unclear. So you might be able to see these things better because they are coming out into the light, but you're also going to have more trouble perceiving their totality. So down in the Imam Silai, we have the spider. The spider is number 9. Upright, this card is about seduction. So seduction is going to set the scene for what ends up happening in the midheaven. And I will say that I do see a card there that is related to marriage. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it is a marriage. Seduction can apply to all kinds of things, not just your romantic life. It can be seduced by a fantastic salary. You could be seduced by a new pair of shoes. You could be seduced even by a beautiful sunset, right? All of these things have the possibility to captivate and spark enjoyment. From your perspective, we have the King of Wands. Now, King of Wands energy would be air of fire. So possibly you have fire sign energy somewhere. And this is how you are coming to a particular situation. The King of Wands is someone who leads by charisma. It's a fiery personality, like a passionate personality, but not necessarily with a bad temper, just meaning that this is somebody who is very passionate and who is able to captivate others with that passion and thereby have power and control. But not necessarily in a negative way. This card is showing up in the upright. On the other side of that, from the outside looking in, however, We have the King of Swords. Now, this is air of air energy, Aquarius. You could be perceiving yourself as someone who's very much acting through your passions. But from the outside looking in, others might perceive that you are more motivated by justice or by keenly honed discernment. Here in the future, Aquarius, we have the Wheel of Fortune in the upright. This is a fixed sign energy card. Here you are, right up here, Aquarius. Whereas the World card is all about the completion of cycles. The Wheel of Fortune is about the continuity of cycles. And the reason that it's fixed sign energy is because we are right here at the top of the Ferris wheel, and we know the inevitability of that Ferris wheel coming back down around again to let everyone off. And that getting off the Ferris wheel is more like the World card energy. Now, because this card is upright in the future, fortune is turning to your favor at this time. Here in your hopes and fears, Aquarius, we have the Ace of Cups. It's reversed. And we're dealing with perhaps a feeling. When we had the Gemini reading, we had the candle coming out reversed. So this is kind of a similar energy as far as like connection to source is concerned. You could also be feeling emotionally isolated from others and be afraid that that is what is going to be informing your life moving forward. Here in the midheaven, we do have the Four of Wands. Now, the Four of Wands is a card, as I mentioned before, it can be a card of marriage. Whatever it is you're being seduced by could end up. Oh, hi, Victoria. I'm finishing up. I'm wrapping up the Aquarius reading right now. Thank you for coming. It's good to see you. Whatever you're being seduced by at this time has the potential to bring stability of a kind into your life. So the Four of Wands can be buying a home. It can be marriage. It can be a certain level of wish fulfillment. People call it the 1111 card. But the key with the Four of Wands is it is not the end of the story. This is just a happily ever after. And then we know that later there's going to be a sequel. So, whatever you're being seduced by now can bring you this fulfillment. The final outcome is very interesting for this reading, Aquarius. We have the Empress. She is showing up in the reverse. And this is in opposition to the King of Swords here, such that the Empress is very, if you look at the two figures, you know, the King of Swords is of the kings, rather harsh. King of Pentacles, King of Cups, those are the passive kings. They're rather friendly. Even the King of Wands, as long as he's upright, he's very charismatic. He's fun to be around. The King of Swords is not necessarily known for being particularly warm and inviting to be around. And so what we have here is the Empress in the reverse. This is a passive energy. This is a receptive energy, and it is based around Venus. Venus is finance, and Venus is also romance. So, what might be happening at this time is this King of Swords is killing a lot of the fantasy for you in regards to this gilded cage. That your discernment is getting in the way of your enjoyment. Now, this doesn't mean that you're necessarily overthinking things. Do remember that we have the cat card here, that the more you see, the less you know. And you're going to be freeing a lot of things at this time, allowing them to branch out and be reabsorbed into other scenarios, because that is what is going to end up happening. If you release a herd of feral cats out into your neighborhood, for example, it's not like they just magically poof disappear. Then you end up with a situation where you hopefully have spayed or neutered these animals, but they start preying on the local wildlife. Cats are a very invasive species. If they haven't been spayed or neutered and then they start decimating the wildlife in a certain area, you end up with this scenario, and then other people start feeding these cats. And then you have to bring in a herd of coyotes to take care of the problem. There are always going to be these unintended consequences to actions. And it's almost impossible to understand how every single thing is going to play out ahead of time, especially if you are using this King of Swords discernment. The more discernment you are using, the less overall you're going to be understanding it, Aquarius. So just take some time, figure out what it is that you want. What is the outcome that you desire? Not necessarily the material outcome, but the outcome related to your hopes overall. And go back to that idea every time you are making a choice in this situation, because things are going to shift and change over time. And in order to keep up with that, you're just going to have to move along with it. So that is going to conclude the air sign readings for this week. Thank you for joining me here on the channel. And I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon.